The massive alien ships appeared without warning at the edge of our solar system. Thousands of them, dark, angular vessels that reflected no light, moved with perfect coordination as they advanced toward Earth. Global defense systems detected them simultaneously, sending automated alerts to military commands worldwide. In Washington, General Robert Moore stared at the satellite footage with growing dread. "How many?" he asked, his voice steady despite his racing heart. "Over 3,000 vessels, sir. Largest is approximately 12 kilometers in length." The young lieutenant's voice cracked slightly. "And still no response to communications?" "None, sir. We've tried all frequencies, all known mathematical sequences. They're receiving but not answering." Moore nodded grimly. "Alert all commands. DEFCON 1. And get me the president." Aboard the lead vessel, Admiral Zoll studied the holographic representation of Earth with 6 eyes that blinked in alternating patterns. His gray skin glistened under the ship's blue lighting as he addressed his commanders. "Their defenses are primitive. Reaction time, slow. Weaponry, chemical and nuclear-based." His mouthparts clicked with what passed for amusement among his kind. "The conquest will be brief." "What of their communications attempts, Admiral?" asked his second-in-command. "Irrelevant. We need not speak to claim what is ours." Zoll waved a limb dismissively. "Prepare the first wave." What puzzled Earth scientists most wasn't the alien silence but their behavior. The fleet positioned scanning arrays not over military installations or population centers, but above the Pacific Ocean. "They're mapping our oceans," Dr. Anna Miller told the Emergency Council. "Depth, composition, currents, they're particularly interested in deep-sea trenches." "Water?" The Russian general looked confused. "They crossed galaxies for water?" "Whatever their interest," Moore interrupted, "they'll have to get through us first." The first skirmish occurred in low Earth orbit. Humanity launched everything available: fighters, missiles, even hastily weaponized satellites. Most expected immediate annihilation. Instead, something unexpected happened. Several smaller alien craft exploded when hit by conventional missiles. Earth's electromagnetic pulses temporarily disabled others. The human weapons weren't bouncing off impenetrable shields as everyone had feared. On his command ship, Admiral Zoll received reports with increasing agitation. "Impossible," he hissed. "Their weapons are primitive. Their attack patterns are unpredictable," his tactical officer reported. "They're using multiple technologies, multiple strategies simultaneously." This wasn't how conquests usually proceeded. Most worlds developed uniformly, one government, one military approach. But Earth fought back with dozens of different systems, some contradicting others, some seeming almost intentionally chaotic. Zoll regained his composure. "Deploy the main assault vessels. Target their largest military installations first. And their oceanic defense systems, Admiral?" Zoll paused. "What oceanic defense systems?" "They're a land species." The tactical officer pulled up scan results. "We're detecting unusual energy signatures deep in their oceans. Some form of technology, but it's biological in nature." For the first time in his long military career, Admiral Zoll felt uncertainty. What were these humans hiding beneath their waters? As the first wave of alien ships broke through to Earth's atmosphere, they encountered not just fighter jets and missiles, but something else, something rising from the depths of the oceans. The invasion had begun, but not as either side had imagined. Admiral Zoll watched with satisfaction as the first wave of assault ships entered Earth's atmosphere. Their primary weapon, a gravity disruptor designed to create localized tsunamis and earthquake-like effects, would demonstrate the futility of resistance. He expected immediate capitulation once humans witnessed its power. "Target coastal military bases first," Zoll ordered. "Show them our strength." The lead assault ships positioned themselves above the Pacific Ocean near San Diego. Energy built within their cores as the gravity weapons charged. Below, military personnel evacuated civilians while preparing for the worst. Nobody expected what happened next. As the alien weapons discharged, the ocean seemed to respond. Not with waves or currents, but with purpose. Massive tentacles, each thicker than a redwood trunk, shot from the water, wrapping around 3 alien vessels before dragging them beneath the surface. "What's happening?" Zal demanded, his translator struggling to convey his alarm. The tactical screen showed chaos. Dozens of alien ships reported attacks from the ocean itself. Enhanced dolphins moved with impossible speed, attaching devices to ship hulls that disrupted their propulsion systems. Schools of what appeared to be normal fish suddenly revealed metallic components, swarming like piranhas to breach external sensors. Most disturbing were the microscopic attackers. Alien crew members who had deployed to the water's surface reported burning sensations as engineered microorganisms began breaking down their protective suits. In the underwater command center designated Deep Blue Alpha, General Moore watched the defense unfold alongside Dr. Miller. Project Leviathan is exceeding expectations, Miller noted, monitoring feeds showing genetically enhanced marine creatures engaging the enemy. The giant squids are particularly effective. Moore nodded. And the microbe deployment? Bioengineered algae and bacteria are attaching to their hulls as planned. They'll begin degrading their external systems within hours. This had been Earth's gamble, not matching the aliens in firepower, but using the very oceans they seemed interested in as a weapon. For 5 years, since first detecting faint signals suggesting an approaching force, scientists had worked to develop marine life into defense systems. Aboard his command ship, Zal struggled to understand what was happening. These are not conventional weapons. The humans have weaponized their ocean ecosystem, his science officer reported. The creatures appear genetically modified for military purposes. Impossible, Zal hissed. Our intelligence indicated they barely understand genetic manipulation. It appears our intelligence was incomplete. On screens throughout the command ship, reports flowed in of ships being disabled by creatures that should have been primitive sea life. What had begun as a simple conquest was becoming a bewildering battle against an enemy using weapons Zal's forces had never encountered. In his private thoughts, Zal admitted something he would never say aloud: these humans were far more ingenious than anticipated. At Deep Blue Alpha, Moore received updates from global command centers. Similar aquatic defenses had engaged alien ships in the Atlantic, Indian Ocean, and Arctic waters. The Mediterranean deployment was particularly successful, with modified octopi disabling alien landing craft with precision strikes. "They're retreating," announced the tactical officer. "Regrouping at high orbit." Moore allowed himself a small smile. "They didn't expect us to fight back with nature itself." Dr. Miller wasn't celebrating yet. "They'll adapt." This was just the first encounter. "Yes," Moore agreed, "but now they know Earth won't fall easily." In orbit, Admiral Zal called his commanders together. Their expressions showed a new emotion: respect for their opponent. "We must reassess," Zal admitted. "These humans have transformed their ocean into a weapon system. We need to understand how they've done this." "And our mission parameters?" asked his second-in-command. Zal's eyes narrowed. "Unchanged. We need their oceans more than ever. But our approach must change." He studied the holographic image of Earth, seeing it with new appreciation. "Prepare the biological countermeasures. If they fight with life, we will respond in kind." As alien ships withdrew to higher orbit, Earth celebrated its first victory. But both sides knew this was merely the opening move in a longer game. The real battle was just beginning. Admiral Zal paced the command chamber, his footfalls creating faint vibrations through the metallic floor. Around him, ship commanders stood in a perfect circle, their postures rigid with tension. The initial defeat had shaken their confidence. Their biological weapons were unexpected, Zal admitted. But not insurmountable. The head science officer stepped forward, activating a holographic display that filled the center of the room with images of Earth's marine defenders. Giant squids, dolphins with attached machinery, and microscopic organisms all rotated slowly for inspection. They've enhanced existing creatures, the science officer explained. Not created new ones. This gives us an advantage, their weapons have genetic vulnerabilities we can exploit. Zal nodded. How quickly can we deploy countermeasures? We've already synthesized targeted pathogens that will disable their larger marine weapons. The microorganisms will require a different approach. The science officer displayed a new schematic. We're modifying our hull materials to release compounds toxic only to their engineered microbes. On Earth, 300 meters beneath the Pacific Ocean, Deep Blue Alpha buzzed with activity. General Moore studied the global situation map as reports came in from tracking stations worldwide. They're regrouping faster than expected, he noted to his command staff. And they're releasing something into the upper atmosphere. Dr. Miller analyzed incoming data with a frown. They're deploying biological agents, specifically designed to target our marine defenders. She looked up with concern. They've already analyzed and developed countermeasures to project Leviathan. Moore's expression remained steady despite the bad news. Then it's time for Phase 2. Alert Global Command, activate Project Tempest. High above Earth, alien ships detected unusual energy signatures forming in the atmosphere below. Weather patterns began changing with unnatural speed. Massive storm systems developed over oceans where skies had been clear minutes before. Aboard his ship, Zal received urgent reports from the forward vessels. Electrical storms forming directly in our descent paths, the tactical officer reported. Unprecedented lightning activity and wind speeds. Zal watched in disbelief as hurricanes formed in minutes rather than days, their swirling patterns precisely positioned to intercept his fleet's planned approach vectors. They're controlling their weather, he realized aloud. Divert ships to secondary attack positions. But as his fleet split into smaller groups, new storm systems formed to match their movements. Winds exceeding 400 km per hour buffeted ships attempting atmospheric entry. Lightning strikes of impossible magnitude disabled external sensors on dozens of vessels. In Deep Blue Alpha, weather control specialists coordinated with satellite arrays that projected focused energy into specific atmospheric layers, creating the conditions for controlled storm generation. Atmospheric disruption at 72% effectiveness, reported the head meteorologist. Their ships are diverting to avoid the storm systems. Moore nodded. Keep them scattered. Don't let them coordinate their approach. On his command screen, he watched as the alien fleet broke formation, exactly as planned. Divided, they would be easier to engage with Earth's remaining defenses. Dr. Miller approached with a tablet displaying new information. Sir, our deep-sea sensors have detected unusual scanning patterns. They're searching for something. Moore studied the data. They're looking for us, for Deep Blue Alpha. If they find this facility. They won't, Moore interrupted. We built this base specifically to be undetectable. But even as he spoke, alerts sounded throughout the command center. Enemy scans had penetrated deeper than expected, using some form of technology that could detect the minute gravitational differences caused by the underwater base. Aboard his ship, Admiral Zal studied the new data with growing excitement. There, he pointed to a section of ocean floor. Their command center is hidden there, coordinating these attacks. His second-in-command approached. Shall we concentrate our forces for a direct assault? Zal considered the options. The weather manipulation made a broad approach dangerous, but a focused strike might succeed. Prepare our elite units, he ordered. We will neutralize their command structure, then proceed with the extraction. As storms raged above, Zal's best warriors prepared for deployment. The next phase would target the heart of Earth's defense, the hidden base where humans thought themselves safe beneath the waves. In Deep Blue Alpha, Moore received the warning too late, multiple enemy signatures on direct approach. They've found us. Alarm klaxons wailed throughout Deep Blue Alpha as defensive systems activated automatically. General Moore surveyed the command center where officers worked with practiced urgency, their faces illuminated by the red emergency lighting. How many incoming? Moore demanded. 73 vessels, sir. Small attack craft, moving in formation. They've somehow neutralized the countercurrents we established. On the main display, enemy ships descended through layers of ocean defense like arrows piercing paper. The remaining giant squids moved to intercept but were quickly dispatched by some kind of sonic weapon that left them floating lifelessly. They've developed countermeasures for the marine life, Dr. Miller reported grimly. They're learning our tactics too quickly. Moore's jaw tightened. Activate the thermal barriers. Engineers triggered underwater heat exchangers, creating sudden temperature gradients designed to disrupt enemy sonar and navigation. Several alien vessels veered off course, but the majority adapted almost instantly, their hulls shimmering as they adjusted to the changing conditions. Impressive, Dr. Miller whispered despite herself. Above, in the command ship, Admiral Zal personally directed the assault. This mission was too important to delegate. Their homeworld situation grew more desperate with each passing day. Status of the human command center, he demanded. Defenses stronger than anticipated, Admiral. But we're breaching their outer perimeters. Zal nodded with satisfaction. I will lead the final approach myself. His officers exchanged glances of surprise. An admiral personally joining an assault was unprecedented. The extraction must succeed, Zal explained, sensing their concern. Everything depends on it. As he prepared his personal battle armor, Zal reflected on the mission that had brought them across vast distances to this blue planet. The images from home grew more disturbing with each transmission: dried lake beds, rationed water, dying crops. Their once ocean-covered world now reduced to scattered saltwater pools. Their scientists had searched for solutions for generations before identifying Earth, a planet with abundant liquid water and a dominant species that seemed, from distant observation, technologically primitive. The plan had been simple: quick subjugation followed by controlled water extraction. Now, as his ship joined the assault formation, Zal wondered what else they had misunderstood about these humans. In Deep Blue Alpha, the situation deteriorated rapidly. Outer defensive rings had fallen. The modified Dolphins, Earth's most intelligent marine defenders, reported heavy losses against the alien sonic weapons. Time to activation? Moore asked, his voice steady despite the crisis. A technician checked the status of their final defense system. Project Kraken needs another 17 minutes to reach full charge, sir. Moore grimaced. We might not have 17 minutes. Prepare evacuation protocols. As if confirming his assessment, a thunderous impact shook the entire facility. Dust fell from ceiling panels. Several consoles sparked and went dark. They've breached the outer hull, someone reported unnecessarily. Moore turned to Dr. Miller. You need to leave with the research data. Take the escape submersible. The surface fleet will extract you. What about you? She asked, already knowing the answer. Someone needs to make sure Project Kraken activates. His expression softened momentarily. The world's oceans are more important than any one of us. Before she could argue, another explosion rocked the facility, closer this time. Moore practically pushed her toward the evacuation bay. Go. That's an order. As Dr. Miller reluctantly departed with critical data cores, Moore returned to the main command center. Only a skeleton crew remained, those who had volunteered to stay behind. Defense teams report multiple breaches, his tactical officer announced. They'll reach the command center in minutes. Moore nodded, checking his sidearm, a futile gesture against beings with such advanced technology, but human instinct ran deep. Lock down all sensitive areas. Initiate data purge protocols. He moved to the central control station. And get me direct access to Project Kraken. As alien forces penetrated deeper into the facility, Moore worked frantically to ensure the activation sequence would complete even if the command center fell. Whatever happened next, Earth's final defense would deploy. The massive blast doors to the command center shuddered under impact. The metal glowed red-hot as alien cutting tools worked through the reinforced material. Moore stood tall, facing the doors as they finally gave way. Admiral Zal stepped through the breach, surrounded by armed warriors. His 6 eyes took in the human command center and fixed on Moore. You, Zal said through his translator, will explain why you fight so hard to protect your water. General Moore stood his ground as Admiral Zal approached. The alien commander towered above him, nearly 8 feet tall with iridescent gray skin that seemed to shift colors under the emergency lighting. Armed warriors secured the command center, disarming the remaining human personnel without bloodshed. You speak our language, Moore observed, his voice steady despite the situation. We've analyzed your communications, Zal replied. His translator rendered his clicking speech into flat English. Your resistance was unexpected. Impressive, but futile. Moore glanced at the countdown display. Project Kraken still needed 9 minutes to fully activate. He needed to buy time. Why attack us? He asked. There are uninhabited planets with water in our own solar system. Why risk war? Zal studied Moore with what might have been curiosity. You don't understand what we seek. He gestured to one of his officers, who projected a holographic image between them. The image showed a planet, beautiful and blue like Earth once, now mostly brown and gray. Scattered bodies of water reflected light, but they were clearly shrinking, their shorelines crusty with mineral deposits. Our homeworld, Zal explained. Once covered by oceans like yours. What happened? Progress. Zal's translator couldn't capture the bitter irony in his voice, but his posture conveyed it. We built technologies that required vast energy. We harvested minerals from our ocean floors. We redirected waterways. He paused. By the time we understood the consequences, the damage was irreversible. Moore began to understand. You're not invading. You're desperate. We need your oceans. Not all, just enough to save our world. By taking ours? That would devastate our planet. A regrettable necessity, Zal stated. Your species could adapt. Relocate inland. We calculated acceptable survival rates. The cold calculation in Zal's voice chilled more than any threat could have. These weren't malevolent conquerors, they were engineers solving a problem, with humanity as an unfortunate variable in their equation. There's another solution, Moore suggested, watching the countdown. 7 minutes. Cooperation, not conquest. Zal made a dismissive gesture. Your technological level is insufficient. Is it? Moore interrupted. We've countered every advantage you thought you had. Our marine defenses surprised you. Our weather control confused you. He took a step closer. You've misjudged us from the beginning. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across Zal's features. Your defenses were unexpected. Because you scanned our television broadcasts and thought you understood us, Moore pressed his advantage. You saw our divisions and assumed weakness. But human diversity is our strength. We don't think alike, we approach problems from countless angles simultaneously. Around them, the facility trembled. Not from attack, but from movement far below, deep in the ocean floor. Zal's officers reported frantically in their own language. The admiral's posture shifted to what Moore recognized as alarm. "What have you done?" Zal demanded. "Project Kraken," Moore answered calmly. "Our final defense." On screens throughout the command center, seismic activity spiked across the Pacific Ring of Fire. Dormant underwater volcanoes began awakening, precisely targeted to create massive steam explosions directly beneath the main alien fleet. "The system is fully autonomous now," Moore explained. "Even if you kill everyone here, it will continue. The underwater eruptions will destroy your fleet within hours. You would damage your own oceans to stop us?" Zal seemed genuinely bewildered. "To protect them, yes. We evolved alongside them. They're not just resources, they're part of us." A tense silence filled the room, broken only by urgent reports from Zal's fleet. The first underwater eruptions had begun, creating massive steam columns that destabilized several alien ships. "Stop this," Zal finally said. "Not an order, but something closer to a request." "I can't," Moore admitted. "But I can offer an alternative." He met the alien's gaze steadily. "Your world doesn't need conquest. It needs help. And maybe, your knowledge could help Earth avoid your fate." "Cooperation?" Zal's translator struggled to convey his skepticism. "Limited water access in exchange for technology transfer. A partnership." The facility shook more violently as deeper eruptions began. Zal's officers reported escalating fleet damage. The admiral's 6 eyes studied more intently, searching for deception. Finding none, he made a decision. "Call for ceasefire," he ordered his second-in-command. "All ships withdraw to safe orbit." Turning back to Moore, he added, "This partnership. Would your leaders agree?" "They'll listen," Moore promised. "Especially when the alternative is mutual destruction." As orders spread through both human and alien forces to stand down, an unexpected possibility emerged from the chaos of invasion: cooperation between worlds that had, moments before, been locked in battle. The United Nations Security Council chamber had never hosted such an extraordinary gathering. World leaders sat alongside military commanders, scientists, and diplomats. At the center table, General Moore faced Admiral Zal across a divide that represented not just physical space but the gap between two civilizations that had nearly destroyed each other. "The terms are straightforward," the UN Secretary-General explained to the assembled delegates. "Earth will provide controlled access to our oceans, specifically, the right to collect 1 billion gallons annually from designated extraction points." Murmurs spread through the chamber. To humans, it sounded enormous. To the aliens, it was a fraction of what they had planned to take by force. In exchange, the Secretary-General continued, the Galactic Confederation will share technologies in 3 critical areas: sustainable energy production, advanced water purification, and environmental restoration. Admiral Zal rose to address the assembly. His massive frame drew all eyes, but his posture communicated respect rather than threat. "Our scientists estimate that with these measures, both our worlds can thrive," he stated. "We regret our initial approach. In our desperation, we saw only resources, not potential allies." Not everyone welcomed the proposal. The Russian representative leaned forward. "How can we trust beings who came to plunder our planet?" Before Zal could respond, Moore intervened. "Because they could have continued fighting. Their fleet still outnumbers our defenses. They chose cooperation when they saw another path." "And the water extraction?" asked the representative from Brazil. "Will it harm our ecosystems?" Dr. Miller, now heading the scientific liaison team, displayed projected impact models. The extraction points are designed to minimize disruption. With their desalination technology, they can even use our most polluted waters, potentially helping clean areas we've struggled to restore. As the diplomatic discussions continued, not everyone in the alien fleet accepted the new direction. Aboard the vessel Righteous Claim, Commander Vrock addressed his loyal officers. "Admiral Zal has been weakened by sentimentality," he hissed. "Our world needs water, all of it, not diplomatic trinkets." He activated a tactical display. "We have enough ships to resume the original mission. The humans are vulnerable during these talks." His officers exchanged uncertain glances. "The Admiral has ordered." "The Admiral has forgotten our dying homeworld." Vrock slammed his limb against the console. "I have not." On Earth, as the framework for cooperation took shape, alarms suddenly blared in the military command center adjacent to the UN building. 15 alien ships breaking formation, reported the duty officer. "They're powering weapons systems and descending toward Washington, Beijing, and Moscow." In the Security Council chamber, Zal received the alert through his communication device. His reaction was immediate and unexpected. "General Moore," he said urgently, "rogue elements of my fleet are attempting to restart hostilities." Instead of accusations, Moore acted decisively. "Our defenses can intercept some, not all," answered his aide. Zal turned to his own officers. "Deploy loyal ships to intercept. Commander Vrock must be stopped before he undermines everything." What followed astonished observers worldwide, alien vessels firing upon their own kind to protect Earth cities. Human defense systems coordinated with alien commanders, sharing targeting data and strategic positions. In orbit, Vrock watched in disbelief as his attack force encountered not just human defenses but ships from his own fleet. "What are you doing?" he demanded of a former ally. "Ensuring our future," came the reply before communications cut off. The brief but intense battle ended with Vrock's capture. His failed attack, rather than destroying the fragile peace, had strengthened it through shared defense. 5 years later, General Moore, now retired, stood on a pier overlooking the Pacific. Beside him, Admiral Zal observed a joint human-alien research vessel departing for deep-sea studies. "The restoration projects on your homeworld have shown promising results," Moore noted. "The Northern Sea is expanding again. Thanks to your scientists' understanding of marine ecosystems," Zal acknowledged. "Something we had forgotten in our technological advancement." In the distance, a massive alien extraction vessel operated alongside wind farms and floating solar arrays, technologies shared through the Alliance. The water it collected went through purification systems that actually left the surrounding ocean cleaner. "The new exploration vessel launches next month," Moore mentioned. "First joint mission beyond our solar system. With representatives from both our worlds," Zal added. "Seeking other civilizations. Hopefully to make first contact better than we did," Moore said with a wry smile. Zal's translator conveyed what might have been laughter. Sometimes the best alliances begin with misunderstanding. As the sun set over the Pacific, the ocean that had once been a battlefield now served as the foundation for an unexpected partnership, two species learning from each other's mistakes and building toward a future neither could have achieved alone.